Okay, I'm a little bit nervous as I'm recording this, talking to my computer, but it's fine. I wanted to talk a little bit about the process that I went through with this piece. I recently, for the sort of first time, made fan art for the video game Cult of the Lamb. Kind of fan art, I guess. I drew myself as the lamb, and people seem to really like that, and so I thought that I would make another piece of fan art for a video game that I have been absolutely obsessed with lately, Faith the Unholy Trinity. So here I'm drawing John. I have been looking at a lot of interpretations of what John looks like on Tumblr and on Instagram, all different artists drawing him in a bunch of different ways, and I know that my interpretation of him is not the same as like what he looks like in the video game, obviously, because I give him this little swoopy haircut, a bit of like a length in the back, he's got these little bangs. I don't know, I just thought that it gave him a bit more personality, just like him that way, I suppose. I also gave him a rosary, which is not something that he has in the game, but I didn't want him to be holding his cross, but I did want his cross to be present in some way. I also gave him a little upside down cross earring, which is not something that John in the game would probably wear. His ears are pierced, and I don't know, that's just something that I think of more as like a motif than a like direct characterization from the video game. Just thought it looked cute and fun, and it works with the theming and all of that. So I'm taking definitely some liberties with what he looks like in order to sort of fit the character to my vision of what I sort of want for this piece.
I contain a little gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend.
I also give him this little sash that I was referencing several different photos of priest dress. And I saw these. I'm not sure what they're called, but I wanted to include them, and I really like these decorative crosses that were embroidered onto that sash. I put some upside down crosses on there. And now I was thinking about adding in the Amy's arm from the video game, but I knew that I wanted to go with tarot-themed symmetrical look, and the whole deal with Amy's that it's this arm coming out of her face, and so it didn't feel right to have two arms, so I chose to go with Father Garcia's shotgun instead. And yes, I did trace the shotgun. I'm not good at guns, and definitely wouldn't have come out as good if I had just free-handed it.
It's negative attention at best. Call it nothing. Maybe something a little bit, maybe something to it's all about ascension, I guess. Don't put me to rest.
And I also traced these letters on the Holy Bible. I just saw this font and I was like, that looks very biblical. Shout out to my typography professor from college for instilling in me the need to trace letters to give it that, you know, handwritten feel, and I definitely think it adds something to it. I add in these letters temporarily. I kind of thought with how symmetrical everything is, it might be good to have a little bit of chaos in there, but I ended up not really liking it. And I'm adding one of my favorite quotes from the game, which is when Father Garcia tells John to not be afraid. That'll come back in a little bit later, but it's going to be a very, very subtle thing that I add in the background. But yeah, I have been watching a lot of synopses of this video game online. I haven't played it myself, but Everybody's gonna come after me for that, for having not played it but really liking the game. I just really love the imagery. I've watched several playthroughs of it done by different streamers and YouTubers. A lot of people have told me that my art is really expressive. I do really good. Big eyes is my big thing. I give people such big eyes, and so I made his pupils really small and gave him a bit of a jitter around it.
I contain until gray hair for every scare you share. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Those aren't meant to bend. No, those aren't meant to bend. Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in my eye.
I gave him some darker hair, which in the game he is completely blue, and so I thought of him of having like brown hair or like dark hair. Things that I really like about the game. I love Father Garcia, his character, like the relationship with John, how they work together as a team. I tried to keep the color palette here pretty simple. It's technically a what's it called? A tri-color palette, or it's a primary color palette, because we've got red, blue, and yellow. The yellow is very subtle. It's a really subdued, almost brown, and it's not used super prominently. It's just in the cross, on the rosary, and his shoes. But I still really feel like it added something to have that third color in there. And I really wanted to have a very dramatic light. With how big his eyes are, I really just add those shines. Wanted to make sure that this came out looking as dramatic as possible.
Go on and hand me your clothes. Take a picture or two. I can see you.
Here I'm adding some noise to the background to give it a bit of texture, because right now the background is just completely black, and I don't love that. I really want to have this high contrast piece. I'm adding a bit of shadow to the middle of his face, because the glow around the outside, I want it to feel like there's a glow coming from behind him. Oh, and here I'm adding the blood splatter. I really like the blood splatter tool, but I do feel like if you just splatter across a piece, it can flatten an image really easily. So I just go around, I delete bits that I'm like, oh well, if I'm thinking if this is an actual blood spatter, then the blood wouldn't fit there. I gave him a bloody nose as well, and I also, as I was making this, I was like, well, he has a bloody nose, and in the game at some point he bleeds from his eyes as well, so I give him some red tears coming down his face, and just really kind of leaning into that exorcism, like exorcist aesthetic of this poor tormented man. There we go. Just fixing up the text there. Thank you so much for watching this speed paint. If you liked it, feel free to leave a like down below, and if you want to see more speed paints from me, feel free to subscribe. I'm hoping to do more of these as time goes on. I have links in description for my streaming and webtoon, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.